Emily, I am so excited that you are here with me today. I have admired you for so long, and to have you as a guest on my show is just really, really fun. So, I just shared with our listeners a little bit about you, but I want you to give them the whole scoop. Like, tell us a little deeper about who you are, who you serve, and why the heck did you decide to join everybody in this online space being an entrepreneur?
Why did I come to crazy town over here in the online digital world? Oh, Tracy, thank you for having me. I am really excited about this conversation. I love nerding out on online business and marketing. For me, it all started when I felt completely sucker punched by my last full time boss. And
Yeah.
he said, I knew I could get you for cheap. And I had just signed the contract and became a communications director. My background was journalism and PR. And that was meant to be a compliment because for
Oh
years
my
I
God.
was a military spouse and
Uh-huh.
I was traveling every 1 to 2, maybe 3 years if I was lucky. I think the longest I've ever lived anywhere is right here, right now, post
Yeah.
military and starting over in my career. And so I had had all these crazy, chaotic jobs within the journalism, PR, and marketing world. And he knew that I was a steal because I had all of these skills, but the energy company was going to pass me over, right? It looked like I
Yeah.
was a flaky resume job hopper. And so it kind of hit me in that moment. I'm like, man, he saw the value because for years it was just like whatever job I could get, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Starting at the bottom, like lowest time off, lowest salary. I never made
Mhm.
more than 40K. And I'm freaking smart. Like I tried to go to law school, but I did the unfortunate thing of getting married young and being a military spouse, which paid off because I've seen the
Yeah.
world, but it damaged my career. And so after that moment, I was like, huh, like he sees my value. And I
Yeah.
realized that he was a great man to work for. And somewhere around there, I started freelancing. It was all
Yeah.
accidental. It was all to help business owners. I knew AP style. I knew how to write. I knew how to get people in the papers and covered by media. And so I wrote some press releases and it unlocked this whole world in the online space because after that, they're like, what else can you do? And like
Yeah.
this thing called Facebook was new at the time because we're talking about the
Mhm.
2000s. And I was like, I could help you with Facebook. I could figure that out. I could make a
Mhm.
media kit and all these things I had done in my job translated online. And so flash forward now, I've had 4 babies. I've moved a bajillion times, I think 12 times in 19 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I've brought my work with me and I've been making an impact behind the scenes as a freelance marketer. I've worked with 100 different businesses. I've helped a business owner make $1 million in her launches, like grow,
Yeah.
nurture, and sell to her audience. And then it was so life changing for me. I started teaching
Mhm.
my friends. And so that's why I'm here in this space with you, with my own community of freelance marketers, anywhere from the marketing assistant to the creative
Mhm.
specialist. And I also have a course that teaches these marketing services. So it has just changed my world. It's given me my professional identity back. And it's also helped me make some freaking money, which has been great.
That's amazing. I love that. I too resonate with that because corporate just wasn't starting to feel like the right fit anymore. And
Mm.
um I also started dipping my toe into the entrepreneurial pool and kind of was a reluctant entrepreneur because my dad worked for himself and he made it look terrible.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a grind just like what dad did." But anyway, I built something different than what my father did. The online space lets you do that versus, having a brick and mortar. But yeah, kind of an accidental fell into it but I'm glad I did. So tell us, I always like to ask a guest, what is a fun of course, you said a fun fact. How many countries have you lived in? You've moved 12 times in 19 years. How many countries have you lived in?
Oh my gosh. Well, I got lucky because I was also a military child too. So I've lived in 3 different countries, but it's always very short.
Yeah.
So Korea, Germany, and then a little bit in Belgium in the summers of college.
Nice. What's
Yeah.
a fun fact a little known fun fact that people would be surprised to hear?
I actually have a twin brother. I don't know if you knew that.
I
One of my
did
friends was like, "Oh, people who are twins are my favorite." And I'm like, "I can see that because it's always this like we mentality and like for the collective. Like I'm always been looking out for him too, even though he's technically older and now taller, way taller than me. But I've always had that like we mentality. And I think that translates well to being the owner of a community and just like
Mhm.
looking out for the collective. But people always ask if we are identical. And I'm like, I am a girl. He's a boy. Like, just give it a little bit of thought. And then people always ask, "Do you have that weird twin thing?" I'm like, "Yes." Sometimes, like, I
Yeah.
can remember one time in high school, I went off to like a college like presentation and he stayed home. And I kept doodling this like hand with a giant thumb. And usually I would do like soccer balls and sunflowers. And I
Uh-huh.
came home and he had broke his thumb. And
Wow.
so we do sometimes have that twin thing. Now he's in Dallas. He used to live in Little Rock near you. He's a pilot. I don't get any perks from American right now, but he's great. He's been my rock getting me through my divorce too, honestly. He's been like
Yeah.
so there for me.
That makes my heart so happy when you have a sibling that just is your person and there and you can lean on them. That's out. What a blessing, Emily. I love that.
Yeah.
And the thumb, that is
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. Wow.
Well, Tracy, sometimes he makes fun of me for being in the online space. So I know we all have this like fear of judgment and our own blocks of visibility. And I'm like, yeah, my brother will do that. Like he loves me, but he's like, what are you trying to be, an influencer? I'm like, you just
Right.
don't get it.
No.
It's cool. Fine.
Yeah. I know. I understand. Our family doesn't understand what I do either. I have one uncle that every family gathering, he'll look at me and go, "So, are you working somewhere?" And I'm just like, "Uncle Joe, you're killing me." We go over this every day. And sometimes I just want to go, "Yeah, I work for XYZ Corporation. I'm vice president of all things important," just to see what he would say.
You should. I
Oh,
encourage you
I
to do
should.
that
I
this
should.
year, this
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
this is it. This is it. Yes, the next holiday gathering. Okay, so let's talk about hiring and outsourcing because, as I shared with you before I turned on the microphone, when I got to the point in my business where I knew I had a capacity problem and I needed help, my friends were saying, my colleagues were saying, okay, then you need to hire an assistant. You need to hire help. And I started to sweat. And I hear this from my clients and students. Hiring and outsourcing can feel enormous and scary because where do we start? Who can we trust? And we have all these big feelings. So, how do you help people get over the big feelings to moving forward with confidence and knowing that it's okay and that they can find the right people?
Yeah, because there's a lot there. A lot of us like me, I didn't start off saying I'm gonna be this entrepreneur and this business owner,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's kind of a role that we're growing into,
Mhm.
and it's uncomfortable when you have to bring in other people. It's hard when your marketing and your business is all tangled up in your head, and you now have
Mhm.
to communicate the next step and how to do things and lead people. Like, I don't know about you, but in all my full-time jobs, I worked in very small offices where it was me, myself, and
Mhm.
I could trust myself and I would always do it. But whenever
Yeah.
I brought in an intern, they were disappointing.
Yeah.
So it's like we carry all this stuff. And I mean, there's so many like limiting beliefs there that we can carry in stories. But in the
Mhm.
end, we have to realize like in order to grow,
Mhm.
we run into that capacity problem, and the best way to grow a business is with time and money, and
Mhm.
you can use that by leveraging other people's time to grow even faster, because otherwise we
Mhm.
just like stay in the weeds here. And when you become a business owner, you have to realize like this is a long game. Like it is easy to
Mhm.
start an online business as far as like startup costs, but like to maintain it, we do need to start thinking about like what does it take to grow and
Yeah.
long term. And I know like James Wedmore, I'm gonna steal his analogy. He talks about like the flower pot or like I have this
Mhm.
money tree behind me and it's
Yeah.
not gonna grow any bigger if I keep it in this little pot,
Yeah.
right? And if you get a bigger pot, this money tree literally will grow and make more money, aka leaves. Like it will
Yeah.
get bigger if we can increase the capacity. And the best way to do that is with people. And I mean, now we do have some AI and some automations that can help, but we still
Right.
need people to do it. And when people can come in and take the burden off of us, the things that we're getting behind in, the things that like
Mhm.
need to be done to move the needle, we can go out and focus on the things that really matter. And I'm sure you
Mhm.
talked about the Pareto principle, this 80-20 rule. And in our business, we
Yeah.
need to be focusing on the 20% that actually moves it forward. 80% can probably be delegated to someone else.
Yeah.
Anything repeating and sucking up time. And I mean, I'm kind of guilty. Like, it's easy sometimes to get lost in the weeds and click buttons and go down rabbit holes. But what do I need to be doing? I need to be
Right.
talking to clients. I need to be doing the visibility that you teach. I need to be on podcasts. I need to be on sales calls. I need to be creating new IP. I don't need to be pressing a button to schedule an email.
Yeah.
So it's like moving yourself into that 20% is really going to free you up for growth. And
Yeah.
it's hard to do. It's scary. It's like it can bring up so much. Like, what if I fail? What if I'm a bad leader? All of that.
All the things. So if I'm what I'm gathering from this is we need to, when we reach this point and we're having the big feelings, we kind of need to have an honest conversation with ourselves. And because sometimes I'll have to say to myself, okay, Tracy, you're a serious CEO. How bad do you want it? Are you willing to do the things that are uncomfortable and scary to get what you want and to grow your business? And I guess if the answer is yes, then we can move forward in what you're saying of knowing that we can find the right people. And if we make a mistake, it's okay. But I guess that, that's kind of how we could deal with those big feelings. If we're wanting to buy a bigger flower pot and grow our business bigger, then we have to do that. So
Yeah.
what are some signals, some signs that should make us go, oh, I think it might be time to hire somebody? Like what are some good signals? Like you were saying, if you're doing a repetitive thing, that was one of the things you
Mhm.
mentioned. What else is there that where we should pause and go, oh, I'm listening. I have Emily Reagan in my head now. I need to hire somebody.
Yeah. I think anytime you think like, "Oh, I need to clone myself," like, if there were more of me, I could do this and increase my capacity. Like,
Okay.
could you launch more? Could you do more revenue generating activities? I mean, for me, just to call myself out because 'cause I'm open and transparent, like, I'll get those feelings of overwhelm, like, there's too much to do, like, I'm having a hard time closing the computer at night, like, I can't take on this launch because there's not enough of me to go around, like,
Yeah.
those feelings, listen to them because it's a huge sign that you're keeping yourself stuck. But
Okay.
honestly, the best thing to do, which we all hate this advice, is to do a time audit and really look at where you're spending your time. And if you're
Yeah.
not focused on that 20%, you got to get crystal clear on what that 20% is. And you have
Yeah.
way too many things over in the 80% column that someone else could do that don't really require your brilliance. Like that's a sign that you're also losing money and opportunity.
Yeah, okay, that makes it crystal clear, and the time audit, y'all, it's not a lot of fun, but just
No.
like Emily just said, it's necessary, and, you know, my husband always likes to say, "I know what neither one of us like this, but we're gonna have to hold our nose and do it anyway."
Yeah.
This
I
may
think
be one of those opportunities.
yeah, and you could always do it for like a week and times 4 if you're using like a pretty standard week, but I hate that. Like I got out of
Mhm.
tracking my hourly time, but it's like, oh, it always goes back to that, you know? But I
Yeah,
think if you think about your time, sometimes this hits people better. Like if you think about your time and your hourly rate. Like I just released a
mhm,
podcast episode about knowing all of your effective hourly rates and your minimal acceptable rate because you kind of got to have a price tag on what it takes to do something, especially if
mhm,
you're going to outsource it. You got to know how long it's going to take somebody and
yep,
what you should pay. But if you think about like if you getting on a sales call, what is that actually worth? I mean, if you have a
mhm,
$3,000 program, that could be, I don't know, a $3,000 an
yeah,
hour activity. But is formatting an email an active campaign a $3,000 activity? No. It's got a different hourly rate and a different task. And so if you can start to separate that, that will
mhm.
also help you like visually see like, wow, I'm actually losing money because I could be doing this other thing over here that generates sales.
Yeah, I that's where the rubber meets the road is when you look at the numbers of it's hard
Mhm.
to argue when you look at the numbers, and just like you said, if you could do an hour sales call and earn several $1,000s, but then you're taking an hour to format an email, just like you said, okay, that email may generate some money, but it's not gonna generate an immediate influx of cash like
Yeah.
your sales call would, so,
Yeah.
okay, I like that, I think that's an easy thing to digest there. So, what is like if somebody is feeling like okay, they're listening right now to us and they're like, okay, all right, Tracy says I have to hold my nose. Emily says I need to audit my time. I'm in, and then they do that. What is a really like? Is there a first thing that you always pick that somebody should delegate, like right out of the gate?
I mean, it's subjective for sure. I know for me, when I was first hiring, like this sounds really lame, but I actually got a housekeeper.
Oh, me too.
I mean, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I had
Yeah.
4 kids. My husband at the time deployed for a year.
Mhm.
I literally did not need to spend my time
Yep.
cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the
Right.
shower, cleaning the toilets. Like it was worth it again to that hourly rate for me to do the billable client work. And so a
Yes.
housekeeper, like sometimes it's like saving time. And
Yes.
sometimes our hires save time. Sometimes they make us money. Like an ads manager might actually turn around and do that, but we're not in the boat for that. So if we can save time and then reinvest it in the business, that can be
Mhm.
the best move. My first like hire in the business was a bookkeeper. And I love
Oh,
money. I love all of that stuff. I love sending the invoicing and receiving the money, but like that would
yeah.
take me a whole day in my agency and I would be up till 2 a.m. And that was not worth my time anymore. It
No.
was
Yeah.
better for me to be spending my time doing client facing work. So my first two hires were not even in the marketing department.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it is, I would say, it's like it could be two things. It could be like the drudgery zone, the things you're not getting done. Like it's
Yeah.
Friday at 4 o'clock and you still haven't done it, and it's important.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of that is admin. It's never been my forte, and so getting
Mhm.
somebody in the inbox who can handle billing and customer service, as someone who can schedule posts and events for my community, those were all things that were like lower level admin that I didn't need to be doing anymore. And it
Yeah.
was easy, but it made sense for me to be over here on this side. Who
Mhm.
was your first hire in your business?
So personally, in my personal life, like you were saying, this was still when I was in corporate because speaking of time, was a housekeeper.
Yeah.
And then, I started developing things like thinking through, um, what I do is I think, "What am I about to do, and how could I delegate it to somebody else?"
Yeah.
Including my family. So,
Yes.
the groceries get delivered, the prescriptions get delivered, like, I'm thinking, "Can this get delivered?" Now I think we can del have
Mhm.
alcohol delivered, so I'm like, "Okay, I don't have to go to the liquor store anymore." But also, like yeah, darn it. But also, like, can the kids go pick that up? Or,
Mhm.
can the kids take my car to the dealership to get the oil changed and stuff like that? But then in my business, the first person I hired was an assistant to help me specifically with it really started with Pinterest. That's what I was
Oh,
interested in. And she was really good at Pinterest. And I knew her here locally. She was amazing. And I was like, "Can you get me on Pinterest? That's something I don't know anything about." She was like,
mhm.
"Sure." Then it became, "Hey, can you get me over on Instagram?" She was like, "Yeah, I think I can." And then I was like, "Hey, really on Facebook a lot, and I've got a Facebook group. Can you help?" And so she really kind of became my right hand
Mm,
person, but it really was a lot of Canva work, social media work,
yeah.
scheduling, and then helping me with Zoom calls with my students as a backup and, stuff like that, webinars and things like that. And since then, it's grown into I have my assistant, and not the same one. I changed assistants about a year ago, and she's really become kind of a right-hand person, like she's so good she can even diagnose, like, tech stuff when
Yes.
things aren't working, and then it morphed into a launch manager, and that person has morphed into my online business manager, so she's got a dual role. She manages my launches, but then she's helping me manage my business from an analytics standpoint because she's really strong with the numbers. And then I roped my son into being my podcast manager when I launched
Nice.
my podcast because I needed somebody to do the editing part and the publishing part. And I was like, "Hey, I'm launching a podcast. You want to be my podcast manager?" And he goes, "I don't even know what that is." And I said, "It's
You're
okay.
hired.
I'm not sure I know what it is, but we're going to figure it out." He's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, do you think I have time to do that?" I'm like, "Totally. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know." I knew his schedule. I was like, "Yes, you have time to do
That's such a good example of the 80/20 rule. Like every task can be broken down because for the
it." Mhm.
podcast, the 20% is you prepping, you
Yeah,
showing up, but the
yeah,
80% is like, the pre-production, the post-production, and the promotion.
yeah,
And I do this in my own show too. I'm like, I don't need to be doing all those things. And I was a podcast manager. And I'm like, I don't need to do that in my business anymore. It's
yeah.
so funny, like the marketing. I don't know if you knew this, but a lot of my early clients were all Pinterest. And I did that same
Really?
exact journey as your assistant because it
How
got me into
funny.
the data, it got me into the funnels, like
Mhm.
got me into launching. But I love that example of Pinterest because in the marketing department, that can take up to 20 hours a week of your time.
That's
And
a
it's something we tend to hold on to really tight because we're like, oh,
lot.
no one can do it like me or sound like me. Or usually we were good at marketing because we got to this
Mhm.
level. But at
Right.
some point we need to like release some of the reins. And I love Pinterest because that person can be in a silo. And I love the
Yeah.
work myself because you can do it autonomously and get it done.
Mhm.
And it's just like working behind the scenes without you. Like you don't need your face. You produce
No.
the content, they repurpose, and it's
Yep.
off like generating website traffic and
Mhm.
leads on its own island. And so when you think about marketing, it's also like what is repetitive within
Mhm.
that marketing department? What is the 80-20% within this
Mhm.
department that I could hand off? And
Yeah.
a lot of people have a hard time doing that. Or I think one
Yes.
of the mistakes is like hiring an admin person and expecting
Mhm.
them to be good at marketing and understand.
Mhm.
And so you kind of like knowing the limitations of your hire, but you got a
Mhm.
perfect example of somebody who's like hungry, growing
Mhm.
with you, eager to learn. Like that's my
Yeah.
kind of woman right there. And they're
Yeah.
just gonna like morph as your business grows.
Mhm. For sure. The other problem that I have had to get honest with myself about, Emily, and I'm sure you hear this a lot, is I was hearing myself saying, "But it only takes me a few minutes. I can
Mhm.
just do it. It only takes me a few minutes. I can schedule all my Facebook group content for my group because it only takes me like 20 minutes. Once the content's made, and I'll just do it." And finally, about 2 weeks ago, when I was in this launch, and because at the time of the recording, we're wrapping up the first launch of 2026, and I was really feeling overwhelmed with everything I had to do for the launch. And I Voxered
Mhm.
her and I said, "Hey, would you mind to schedule my content for the group for next week?" And she was like, "Sure, I'll do it." And I don't know why. I don't know. Sometimes I question my intelligence, but she did it. And I was looking at the content and I was like, "Well, this is perfect," because it was under, I think what I was worried about was it was gonna be posted under her name and not my name, and it would
Mhm.
lose the Tracy Beavers feeling in my community. But
Yeah.
she's so smart, she went into the Meta Business Suite and posted it through there into the group using my business page, which says Tracy Beavers. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, why, how am I so blonde on some of this stuff that I just didn't, and I Voxered her and I said, "Hey," I said, "this is so perfect. So you can schedule this under my business name?" She goes, "Yeah, I do that in the
Yeah.
Meta Suite." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah. Like,
Like, I'm glad one of us is in charge because I definitely don't need to be. But I
that's
kept
so
telling myself, "It only takes me 20 minutes."
yeah, and that adds up, right?
Yeah, it
It adds up
does.
to a lot of missed time, and it adds up to, like, that busy work that distracts us from doing the big goals.
Yeah. And it adds that extra layer in my brain. So, like, when I can let it go, it's like
Mhm.
I feel like I can breathe, you know? It's like it means more than 20 minutes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it really does. I know that because we as, like, women, as moms, as business owners, there's so many tabs open in our brains. So I think
Yes.
anything you and so many decisions to be made, and so much of your content can be repurposed, like, someone
Yes.
else can use, like, a voice, custom GBT and write like you now, like, all of those kind of excuses are gone when you
Yeah.
get the right help, and I think a lot of that strips away to, like, okay, now we have to, like, focus on success or any kind of
Mhm.
fear of failure that might come up, or what does it mean if I let go of this? So, I'm glad
Yeah.
you got help. A lot of my clients flip out because you can still see, like, who posted it even though they're through your account, and every time,
Uh-huh.
every new client, they're like, "Ah!" And I'm like, "Don't worry, only you see my name. Everyone else just sees, like, Tracy Beavers, the
Oh,
page."
nice.
And, like, that
Yeah.
always freaks us all out.
For sure, for sure. Let's talk about the marketing department. We've touched on that for a couple of times.
Mhm.
So, and I know that that's your jam. When it comes to the marketing department, people will use terms like virtual assistant, online business manager, marketing coordinator, marketing manager. Then there's like marketing director. Then there's
Yes.
like chief marketing officer. What how do I know what I need?
Yeah.
Because it seems to me that those things mean different things to different people.
Yeah. There's a lot of, alphabet soup here.
Yep.
I was at, Amy Porterfield's mastermind speaking on this and, like, who
Uh-huh.
to hire at 500,000, and, like, this is a question that comes in all the time
Mhm.
about who, what, and when, and in the end, as a CEO, you are in charge of the vision. Like, we're not ready to, like, let that go, right? Like, I think
Right.
hired a CEO, right? Like,
Yes.
that's her letting go of the vision, right? Like, we
Yeah.
hold the vision. So then it's on us to decide who's deciding the strategy,
Mhm.
who's building the plan, and who's
Mhm.
executing. And
Yep.
so all these are like opportunities for little hats. So you need to get crystal clear. Most of us, when we first start, we're going to hold on to the vision. We're going to
Yeah.
hold on to the strategy, and we're
Uh-huh.
going to start to hire people to either help us build the plan or do all the like nitty gritty tactics and details. And so
Okay.
I like to say, virtual assistant is like a term that we all use interchangeably, but it's
Yeah.
becoming more synonymous with, AI bots and whatnot. But like use a job
Mhm.
title within the department. And we're in the marketing and sales department here. So marketing assistant would be the one who is like, it's almost like the server in the restaurant. Like they're running the
Okay.
food, right? Like they're the ones doing that work. And then at some point, we might need a marketing project manager, which is what I talked about at Amy's stage. And it's really that like food expediter. It's like
Okay.
making sure like it gets out to the right table, but they're not actually doing the work. And so a lot of times people jump to thinking like, oh, I need this whole marketing director, or I need an OBM, or I need a
Mhm.
CMO. But most of us aren't at that point where we're like
Yeah.
hiring out. We're still the head chef,
Yes.
we're still the kitchen manager. We just need the people to run the food and like
Yes.
do some of the work. And that's where most of us are until about 300 to about 500,000. And then
Mhm.
we start to outsource the management of it. And
Okay.
outsourcing management just increases our capacity and like lets us do more launches, do and build another revenue stream
Yeah.
and whatnot. So for me, like one of the indicators, because I'm like right at that spot where I haven't hired the OBM yet, but I know I need to because I'm in Asana assigning tasks way way
Oh,
too much. Like that's
yeah.
like in my launch, I was like, I'm regretting this. And I'm like, why didn't I just get a launch manager? So yeah, so I would think in terms of like who can do the work and who can do it well.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do need a specialist. We need
Okay.
that pastry chef. We need that bartender to do something that's so special and unique. And I think about like an ads manager. Like there's
Uh-huh.
somebody, you're not just going to have your admin or your customer service person or a marketing assistant run your ads. Like you're going to go to a pro and they're going to be very solid in their lane and what they do. So
Yeah.
at this level, a marketing coordinator, a marketing assistant, even a marketing project manager is kind of like
Mhm.
where most of us are.
Got it. Okay. That is super helpful. That is really, really helpful. What are some so let's say we've gotten comfortable with this, we're ready to go, and we're gonna start to interview for potential positions. What are some of the biggest red flags to watch out for when we're interviewing somebody or when we're trying somebody out to see if they will be a good fit and then therefore a permanent hire or
Yeah.
maybe not a W-2 employee, but at least a permanent 1099 part of the team?
Okay, I'm actually going to flip that back. I want to
Okay.
say one thing, like we should
What?
have something in place before we hire, and
Okay.
that's like clarity on the role,
Okay.
what we want that person to be responsible and in charge of. So we have like clear metrics of success. Like what would
Right.
make this position success? Most people, like you think you're hiring someone who is a strategist, but they're actually like a doer. We just need to get on page with like our expectations here. And
Right.
so so for like the red flags, like having a clear job description is going to
Yes.
bring in the best quality candidate. First of all, if you're putting together like a loosey goosey thing, and you want everything in the kitchen sink, like you're not going to get a
Yeah.
primo high quality candidate. You're going to get a newbie, and sometimes that can be the blind running the blind, right? Like
Right.
sometimes it's okay to hire new people and like have that expectation.
Mhm.
So like there's situations for that. So start with a job description and then make sure on the call that person can do the work, and their portfolio
Mhm.
will show you everything. One time I had a lady like upset in my inbox because I have a hiring forum at hiringunicorn.com. You can come
Mhm.
to my work group and you can find, English speaking marketing savvy assistants. And she's like, she's not good at design. I'm like, well, did you look at her portfolio? Because she
Yeah.
sent me the design. It was terrible.
Oh
It was
gosh.
ugly. And I was like, well, did you look at her portfolio? No, she didn't do that. She didn't do the vetting. And so their
Wow.
marketing assets will show you. And on the
Mhm.
call, like talking to them, figuring out their kind
Mhm.
of experience. But I think the best way to really make sure you're making a right hire is do a test project,
Yes.
a
Mhm.
paid test project, because the higher
Right.
quality people, we don't do that for free.
Mhm.
And just test them out and see. And I think that can kind of give us all a sigh of relief like, oh, I don't have to enter this 12-month contract, which that's
Right.
stupid anyway.
Right.
Test it out, test out the relationship because this person is also an independent contractor.
Mhm.
deciding if they wanna work with you. They're also a business owner. You're not hiring an employee here. And so you
Right.
do wanna make sure it's a good fit. And when you realize that you don't have to be desperate, you can take your time, you can vet the right person, you can make a better hiring decision. But it does start with that job description.
Love that. So the job description's really important. We
Mhm.
need to be as detailed as possible on that. I agree with you completely,
Yeah.
on that, by the way. And then the test project, look at their portfolio, look at their work, especially if you're wanting to do graphics and visuals and things,
Yes.
and then give them the test project.
Mhm.
And I love your point of they're trying you on just as much as you're trying them on,
Yeah.
because they don't have to say yes to you,
No. I
right?
know, we might give them some red flags,
Yeah.
like, in our own micromanagement. Like, one thing we can't do is, like, treat a discovery call like a job interview. Like, we can't
Yeah.
get in trouble with the IRS here and misclassify people. But we also have to think about it, and I talked about this on Amy's stage too, like, we're trying to attract top talent, and it is getting
Mhm.
competitive out there, and we
Yeah.
do want that relationship, right? We want someone who cares about our business,
Yes.
who's loyal and gonna grow with us just like your assistant did. And so, like, little things that we communicate and, like, if your job description is too corporate and stuffy, like,
Mhm.
you're that a freelancer is gonna be like, "Oh, hell no."
Yeah.
Like like like,
Oh,
I'm sorry, Amy Porterfield's template, but, like, everyone's like, "That is really like, that's a lot."
yeah.
So, one thing I like to do in the discovery call too, like, I always like to suss out people who have a love of learning and, like, love
Mhm.
challenges. So asking them, like, "What do you wanna learn? Like, what are you into?" And seeing where
Yeah.
they wanna grow. Like, if you could take a course right now, and you got a scholarship, like, what would you take? And that will tell you everything
I
about
love
where they wanna go. But you also have to have that direct question of,
Mhm.
like, "What do you not like?" Because if
Yeah.
you hire someone who's in their drudgery zone, you're gonna be unhappy, they're gonna be
Yeah.
unhappy, you're gonna waste your time, probably gonna have to start over with a new person in a couple months. And so being very realistic about what does the job need
Yeah.
and hiring for that role rather than making, like, someone who isn't right fit into it.
Yeah. Such good points. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I think you're making everybody feel better
yeah,
just listening to this conversation. Okay,
yes,
couple of fun questions and then we'll
yeah.
wrap it up. All right, I always like to ask this one. If you could tell your younger self one thing about business, what would it be?
Oh gosh. This is really smart. I think that I sometimes I wanna go back to naive Emily who just jumped in with an idea and
Yes.
didn't know anything, right?
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize how much evolution there is, and just even
Yes.
within my messaging alone, like, I feel like I started, like, a girl with a dream and an idea, and I didn't realize how much we'll be forced to, like, change and
Yeah.
evolve and pivot and just in how we speak to our audience and who we call in. So I
Yeah.
think I would tell younger Emily to not be afraid to start, but also like go with the flow a little bit. Like it's not going to be like you said it and it stays. You're going to
Mhm.
have to like shift things around. And that's been kind of hard for me because it doesn't stop. Like I'm redoing a sales page right now and I'm like, okay, who's the best fit person for this? And like, how do I speak
Yeah.
to them? And every year it changes just a little, and it requires us to update things. It's not one and done, you know? So I don't know why I thought like I'll build it and it will be final and like there is always going to be, and I think that's also a case for why we need marketing help to go in there and make those updates because
Yeah.
there's been a lot of shifts and like just the pivots in 2026 alone. So yeah.
Yes, for sure. I had that same realization, Emily, when I started building this. I thought if the faster I go, the quicker I'll get there and the sooner it'll be built. And
Yes.
so I did that for like 3, 4, 5 months, building alongside my corporate job, just exhausting myself. But I thought the faster I get to the finish line, the faster it'll be done. And I
Mhm.
finally it dawned on me one day, I was like, oh my stars, this is never going to be done.
No.
I'm not building a McDonald's franchise that you
No.
can just build and put the people in it and go, hey, that looks good. I'm going to go build another one. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, this thing's never going to be fully built and done. And now, so I decided to
Mhm.
slow down and not, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
race.
marathon.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what I was thinking. Well, I know what I was thinking. I didn't know anything about the online space. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
So,
But
all
I'm
right,
thank
well,
God we did it, thank
yeah,
God we started.
right. Okay, one more fun question.
Okay.
If you had to rebuild your business from scratch tomorrow, what is the very first thing you would do? And what would you absolutely not do again?
Oh, these are giving me some serious thought here. My first thought was, when I started, I was doing PR service. Oh no, did I freeze?
You're frozen, but I can still hear you. You're
Oh,
okay.
I look ridiculous.
That's okay. Now what that means is everybody's going to go flock to YouTube to see what
Oh
to
my
see what I'm
God.
saying.
Now we're good. Of all the still shots, like I look drunk and stupid. Okay. I
It's
don't know
okay.
what's happening, Tracy. Okay. When I first started, I was offering a service I was naturally good at. And
Mhm.
I really wish that I would have just started a PR agency from the beginning.
Yeah.
But I had no idea. So I feel like lucky all your listeners, like it was such a head start by listening to this show, having a mentor who knows online business.
Yeah.
When it comes to my course business, I think my biggest mistake was I named my course something stupid and untrademarkable. I named it the Virtual Assistant Crash Course, which I thought at the time no one was saying crash course. I still
Right.
hate that I'm frozen. I can't do anything about this.
Wait, you wanna turn your camera off and turn it back on and see if that does it?
I don't even know how to do that. Help me.
I'm not
How do I
sure.
do that in River? Oh, here, down here. Okay.
Oh, wait, no, that didn't do it either. Oh, wait.
I
Oh,
and I'm like techie, Tracy. This is embarrassing.
it's okay.
Okay. I named my course something stupid.
Yeah.
It got copied. And if I could go
Oh,
back in time, I'd be a little bit more thoughtful. And it wasn't devastating to my bottom line, but it made me rebrand and it ended up being a great like
mm.
hero story. But
Yeah.
I wish I would have thought a little bit more about like the total transformation, where I was going with the course. And I had done something that was actually trademarkable because the virtual
Yeah.
assistant crash course, when I talked to a lawyer, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
So maybe talking to a lawyer early, but at the same time, I'm
Mhm.
glad I just started and, like I'm grateful how fast I started and naively.
Yeah.
But I did have to go back and fix some things. But yeah.
Yeah, we all do. Totally. That sounds familiar to me too. Okay, I really am excited about the free gift you have for everybody. It sounds like it's a free guide to hiring a VA. Do you wanna tell everybody about it?
Yeah. I put together because I get these questions a lot. I don't have a course. I'm not trying to sell anyone anything, but how to bring on that first VA and be able to delegate to them, how to write the job
Mhm.
description, everything we talked about today. I put it in a workbook and it'll walk you through that process, especially that very painful time audit that we talked about.
Yeah.
And so many people get trapped thinking like, oh my God, I have to bring on a VA and that means I've got to pay him 40 hours a week. But no, you
Yes.
can bring someone on for 2 hours a week and just get started winning your time back and moving your
Mhm.
business forward. So this guide will help you do that. And then I share my Hire a Unicorn a job hiring form where you can then tap into my people who are trained in the marketing department. Some of them
Mhm.
also do admin and customer service and course help. And you can like tap into that pool to hire your first person too.
Nice. I love that. Emily, thank you so much for giving us your time. I know that listeners have really learned a lot. And you guys, here's what I want you to do now. If you are not in my free Facebook group, I want to invite you over. Even if all you do is join Facebook to join my group, it's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. Here's what's in it for you to be with us. You're going to get support like you've never had before in your business. If you need help with something, you post in there. One of the members in our group is an expert. I can guarantee it because we have over 4,000 people. We have experts on everything. We also have free networking sessions once a month, and I do free live Q&A ask me anythings on a specific topic once a month. So you're encouraged to come be with me and ask me your questions. The links for Emily's freebie and all of her connections from her website to her social media profiles, including mine and my free Facebook group, will be in the show notes for you. And as always, I want to know what you think about the show and this particular episode. Send me a DM, send me an email, and let me know what you want to hear more of. And I say this every single week. Don't try to do this by yourself. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Some days everybody wants to buy what you're selling, and other days nobody can remember your name. And if you think you're alone, you're absolutely not. That's where you need to get into a community of support like my free Facebook group so that you can have that guidance and people cheering you on the days when this is feeling pretty hard. I want you to have a great balance of the week and weekend. And remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. So that is why we have got to keep cheering each other on. And Emily, I know we lost you on camera, but I'm so glad you were here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry about my face.
It's fine. I love it. It'll just get me more YouTube viewers. That's all.
I actually think this could be a huge blessing. I took a screenshot. I'm sorry. This has never happened. I'm just like laughing at how we just have to roll with it. Like, it's going to be fun.
I think it's hysterical. I think you should post the screenshot on LinkedIn and tag me.
Okay, wait. You smile. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Gosh. And I look so cute today. This is like such a shame. Look. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's not coming back. I kept blinking it.
Oh, my stars. All right, my friends, we are going to land this plane. Emily, thanks again for being here.
Thank you.